Welcome to this year's show, Revolutionize Your Marketing. This show is sponsored and provided by Mill City Marketing MA, and we are here with our host and founder of this show, John Petro Sr. This is a show about marketing. We're going to be talking shop about marketing. We have a guest here, so we're going to have, an expert insight and just get the lay of the land of our friend here. But we're going to bring in John Petro Sr. to get this marketing conversation going. So, John, take it away. This is your Revolutionize Your Marketing show. Enjoy.
Thank you, Kurt. And as always, folks, welcome to Revolutionize Your Marketing. And I have a guest tonight, and he's from Michigan. And let's bring Evan Raoof in.
John, hey Kurt, thanks for having me tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in. So let's start off and let people know who you are, where you're from, and how you got to do what you're doing.
Uh, I own director of the Fit Living Academy. We're a health coaching and consulting company. We actually have two different programs coaching business owners and executives and leaders to really learn the skills needed to be healthy in four areas: mindset, mobility, muscle, metabolism. We have programs for practitioners to help them educate their patients to add revenue to their business as well. And the ultimate goal is to really get people present to being healthy and what's the outcome. That's why I call myself more of a health performance coach, because I want to focus more on the outcome of really what's needed to be present, what's most important. So many people are dying too young and living too long with disease, and it can be avoided. And we have an opportunity to work with many practitioners to be able to help them, engage their patients to really rev up what they do with their patients and support them in their success and the patient's success.
Okay. So you work with all types of people and groups.
It's really more, it's I've taken a holistic approach to coaching. I started out as a personal
Yeah.
trainer many years ago, doing this for 25 years. And the opportunity is I always be quote a personal trainer because I really that's where it came from. But my communication has changed because people need different resources, and we need to understand how healthy muscle works and how it works for you, as well as how you nourish it with proper nutrition. Uh, Eating the right types of foods, and also proper supplementation. And we have to come to the table with the right type of mindset. So the opportunities to help you learn those skills needed and looking at where we're at. The ironic, John, is 25% of the population are actively taking on their health. Only 25%. So
Mm,
75% of the population is not. And so there's a big opportunity to say, okay, how do I get started? Because most people are afraid to get started because they don't think they got to do so many different things. Which once you learn what to do and get more confidence, I'm focusing on the skills needed, all these activities, strength training, building lean muscle tissue, learning how to eat the right types of foods. Weight loss has been the industry standard for many years, and it will still be as what the advertisers tell you. But the opportunity is that we need to be focused on these daily activities to help us be present for what's most important to us. What's important to you,
yeah.
and how does that really impact you? Because we we need to be ready to be present for our family and what's most important. Like I always say, the impact of what's what's the impact of picking up 40 pounds? When your grandson or
Yeah.
granddaughter runs to you, do you hesitate to pick them up, or you just don't? Or that bag of dog food or groceries that are 40 pounds, how do you approach that? Do you need someone to help you, or do you just don't do anything? Buy lighter loads and go back 4 or 5 times because you can't pick up 40 pounds.
Yeah.
That's the major barometer. Like, and that's why strength training is important, and also looking at longevity is we do know that it'll give more confidence, and we don't want to second guess like doing things that are really important to us. We don't want to miss out in life because our family needs us for different. We always want to be part of our family and be part of it. And so the opportunity is really to get people more confident and not really thinking about, you know, falling or doing falling or things like that, because that's what people are over the years. People are they think, well, this is my age, I'm getting older, it's part of life. Necessarily, it may not need to be if someone's taking an active role in their health. And it's all those aspects that are together. Not one is less important than the other. And it's something we need to take on for the rest of our life. And I donned it more training for the performance of your life, because we don't know when we need to be ready, but will you be ready to for your best performance? And we just need to be ready. So that's what we don't try. We've been very successful in helping people get to that point and really take an active role in their health and their life.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not just the body, it's the mind set too.
Everything, everything. The thing is that's also too, like I was talking to a psychologist today. It's like there's certain skills that she has that teach people to improve their behavior, but also your body, no matter what you're actually doing in terms of preparation for whatever activity you're trying to do, mental clarity, even mental clarity and emotional fitness, mental health, if your body's not up to performance the best possible way, you can teach someone all they want, but their body's not prepared.
Yeah.
So strength training, exercise, healthy muscle, and proper nutrition helps balance the nervous system to support, you know, the activities of daily living that you want to take on.
Yeah. The thing is too, a lot of people don't realize that it all works together.
Sure.
Without
Absolutely.
everything being in sync, it's
Yeah.
something's bound to go wrong.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things can happen in life, but also that when you take an act of taking on your health, you're working on what you control, and you reduce the chance of opportunities to you don't reduce the chance, you increase the chance to minimize disease and toxicity and build your immune system. And the biggest thing really is building one's confidence to feel confident, because, the opportunity is, when you pass the age of 60, the increase the chance of falling or hurting yourself is linear. It goes up a little bit every year, but almost after age 70, it goes up 3 times, 4 or 5 times. And so if someone isn't confident or strong and stable, they may fall and break their hip or break their ankle or what have you. And from that point, it's just goes downhill from there. So getting people, and the interesting thing is, a study I saw a few years ago, the I thought exercise would be the top number one thing that need to be worried about and nourishing your body. But those two, nutrition was probably five or six. The number one was socialization. Now we actually can coordinate that with quadricep strength. Like if someone can has strong quadriceps and hamstrings, they can sit up and stand up and sit down, dinner table, go to the toilet, all these different things, and they can get out of the house. That's a major impact for socialization and getting around. Because unfortunately, when someone gets is locked in their house because they can't get around, people don't go and see them as much.
Yeah.
And then
True.
you have to bring in the home care worker to help you and all these things where, you know, we want to create more independence for somebody over time. And that's one aspect. And the business leader owns their business. You're setting an example for your employees, setting an example for your family. And there's no doubt that the more effective and more efficient you are in your business, you can be more profitable. So you can get things done faster and more focused with your mental clarity and your focus with your body the way it is.
Yeah. I talked to quite a few people in the natural health in industry, and it's getting known more and more that when doctors prescribe prescriptions, they're not meant to do what they are intended to do.
I'm not gonna. I know that
But
the natural medicine. I totally agree with it, but also I'm not going to discount
yeah,
Eastern medicine because it has it. I try to be neutral on this. It has its
Yeah.
purpose, but at the same time, you cannot rely on medication. You need to rely on natural resources, natural supplements, exercise, nutrition. And to me, I host one of the largest health groups on Alignable, and you know we have a lot of practice. And I say, unless you're actually talking about healthy muscle and nourishing it, you're not completing the equation
Yeah.
because that is very important. But you have to nourish it, and even like the hottest topic right now is GLP-1 medications, Ozempic, and things like that. If it's done
Yeah.
correctly, it has its purpose. However, there's many more ways to naturally increase your GLP-1 through natural supplementation, exercise, and nutrition as well, and knowing exactly how it all works for you. A lot of people like to take a shortcut of, things. Even for, if I can just say this, even exercise. There's certain ways the protocol to support progression in exercise and looking at what's right for that individual. But just because I like to do an exercise doesn't mean it's right for me or I do too much. It's the same on the other end of the spectrum, medication. In the end of the day, it can do what it needs to do, but it doesn't, but it also has side effects. So at the same
Yeah.
time, if you can do something naturally and increase your your will through exercise and proper nutrition to support that, why not do that? And then I would say, if when you do all these things you can control yourself, the doctor or the natural practitioner that knows both can actually say this is medication you need or you don't need it. I can never say you can't need it, but we do know naturally you can solve most
Yeah.
problems through diet and exercise,
I
and
gotcha.
people need to take on. And I know I'm talking a lot, but at the same time, people do like to follow. They're not leading. So this is where create more independence and get to know what your body's really able to do. Your body's able to naturally heal itself if you do certain things. And
Yeah.
sleep is one of those things that really are very important. But it's like the outcome of doing things on a basis that you'll be able to sleep better.
Yeah. That's yeah, sleep is a big thing too. Um, there's a lot of miscommunications about how much sleep you actually should have every day. Um,
By
some people,
age,
yeah,
it's
some
different by
people like
age.
myself, we don't get enough. I can tell you that about me. I don't get enough sleep. Um, in the middle of the day, I could be in the middle of doing something in my office here, and I just end up falling asleep in the chair.
I mean, just the opportunity there is that, you know, looking at your diet, how it's impacting throughout the day, and also, getting present to like deciding when I'm going to go to sleep at night on a regular basis and getting up at the same time every morning. Even you go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and you get up at 8 o'clock, that's 7 hours sleep right there. But being
Yeah.
consistent helps that a great deal. And I'm guilty of it too, like going to bed with too many things in my mind and not being able to sleep as well. And so,
Yeah.
but I get up at 4:30 every morning, and I get about 7 hours sleep at max, and sometimes less. So that's on the cusp of 7 to 9 is probably optimum for people. More like
Yeah.
7 to 8, I think. But you know,
Yeah.
but there's
It's like,
like we alluded, there's a lot of different factors involved in it, and if you look at your body as a hobby, it's like you're going to take more care and understanding about how your body works because there's a basic foundation of health and fitness, and there's one specific to what your needs are, and like, you know, and there are,
yeah.
again, it's like the good, the better, and the best. If I can get someone to really embrace the good exercise, and that also includes cardiovascular exercise, understanding basic mobility, and also understanding strength training and resistance training and how it all fits together. And then we have to nourish it. So all those things are very important, either one. You can't do one without the other. So
Yeah. Exactly. Um, if your body's tired, doing physical exercises is not going to really help much if your body's always if your body's always tired, it's
But
just
this is also too is the more that you
well,
really engage in movement every day and you actually eat healthy every day, it's not about one workout or one meal. You get to know what your body is capable of. At the same time, when you're actively exercising, 75%, listen, 75% of active exercise be moderate or low intensity. That's moderate 75%. So only 25% is going to be high intensity. And high intensity is something different for everybody.
yeah,
I was looking at a study a few months ago that's been around for a while, and in seniors over 70, 75 years old, they did interval training. Interval training simply is to raise your heart rate up and bring it back down again. Now, in athletes, you do 1 minute, 2 minutes at a time, or certain specific time range at a higher intensity, and then you have a certain low intensity period. Now, for seniors, the one
yeah,
study I'm talking about is 7 seconds. They walk for a minute or 30 seconds and at a moderate, slow pace. And for 7 seconds, they increase the speed, whatever that speed is, for 7 seconds. And they did that 10 times and they improved their cardiovascular fitness.
hmm,
So in that
interesting.
example, it's like moderate,
Yeah,
understanding where someone is and modifying it or giving them, because consistency is what's going to be the player. Consistency and creating that discipline for yourself and then showing up and doing. I'd much rather someone like people say, well, I walked 5 miles or walked 3 miles today, or I walked 3 miles Monday, but I didn't walk the rest of the week. Why? Well, I didn't, but I'd rather have them walk a
hmm,
mile a day for 5 days because they're
yeah,
creating the habit. And that's more, and as anybody, progression is really key to everything because you want to progress at the right in the right way to be able to improve your intensity. Because if you push too hard, you're going to get hurt. And if you don't push enough, you're going to get bored. And
yeah,
so, trying to get that, it's not about anything more than creating more discipline for yourself. And remember this, it isn't
yeah,
about you. It's about your family.
yeah. Everybody, if everybody relies on you and you're falling apart, then the whole group's going to fall apart.
Absolutely.
And it's the same way with business. If if the owner of the business isn't following through with what he needs to do, the business is going to end up falling apart.
Sure. But that's also, it gives people longevity to be able to help them make decisions because they're mentally, I mean, there's many studies in terms of diabetes and Alzheimer's related to exercise and nutrition. And there's
Yeah,
correlation between that. So being present to ward off those diseases as long as you can or curtail it gives you access to really being present with what's really important. And in the earlier life, we're always worried about our business. And at the end of the day, guess what? We want to be happy.
yeah,
And what brings us happiness? More time with our family. I was, trying to do what we want to do. So that means being more efficient on our job or work so we can enjoy what matters most to us.
yeah, yeah. And maintaining your strength and your health is not only beneficial for everybody else, and being beneficial for you, it's beneficial for the people that you help as well.
Absolutely. But John, this is also why I've changed my communication, how I'm communicating things, because all these things are important, but at the end of the day, it is about being happy and also be present for what's really important to you. And then that maybe, hopefully, that gives you a benchmark to say, this is what I'm reaching for, and this is how I'm going to get there.
Yeah,
And then, like, again, you also start feeling better about yourself. And I feel like it's an act of loving yourself. And the more you participate, the more you're going to want to learn more about what you can do. And that builds confidence endurance, and all the characteristics involved in, being more persevere more, create more discipline, more focus, and looking and apply. One of the greatest books I've read recently is The Atomic Habit. They use a lot of exercise. Exercise is one of the examples, some of the examples, but it's like, looking at exercise and how you can implement it in your work in terms of the activities that you're
Yeah.
doing, and
Yeah.
vice versa. I looked at, when I read that, I started looking at my exercise routines for myself and like, how do I apply the actions I'm taking to create a body I really enjoy being with into my work. And so it goes both ways.
Yeah. Bef- Before I forget, if people were if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you for your advice or
Either
your services?
right now we're working on our website, updating our website, but it's myfitlivinglife.com. And then if you want to schedule time, it would be myfitlivinglife.com /trust. And then I can leave in the comments, I can leave my phone number as well. But those two areas. And then
Okay. Um, okay. What else? What else? Let's see if Kurt has any questions. Kurt, you have any questions for my guest?
Of course. So so Evan, let's take a little bit more of a look at, what you provide. You're like with what you do, am I following the first part right? I want to clarify is you and John, like you're part of the Smart Connect community and, you know, with that website, right? Like you're an ambassador.
Lineable?
Yeah, with Alignable,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you're a person that's out there and you've got a service to provide. So in this element of being fit, you have your website. Can you tell us a little bit more about the value your clients are getting from plugging in with you? Because people can just take a do-it-yourself and not subscribe to
It seems to be
going
that
through
way.
what you do.
Yeah, it seems to be that way in some ways. But you
Yeah.
mentioned alignable. That was something that, you know, I I got associated during lockdown, and I'm fortunate to be one of the ambassadors and also one of the largest health practitioner groups on Alignable. And someone said to me one time, if you own a business, you'd be in front of the room. And so like I took that to heart. So it's been a great platform for me to meet new people. And again, the opportunity is really the programs we serve is really giving people access to really taking on their health more effectively. And we have specific programs for weight loss and building healthy muscle. And then we actually incorporating more practitioner programs to help them really engage their patients as well, through customized programs for them. And the opportunity is really to engage people to learn how to be healthy. And again, I was earlier, there's certain skills I feel people need to take on a daily basis and learn. And through that, we can look at getting to on that process of creating more discipline, creating a better life for themselves through health. And the end of the day, it's like they're going to be present for what's most important to them, and they'll be around a lot longer, more productive, and more efficient. And it is the opportunity is that there's a lot of bells and whistles out there and getting people to do things, but when someone really takes on learning what their full potential is through their health, their life is so much better, so much. And that's why one of my phrases is train like it matters because you do.
There we go. So Evan, kind of, how do you place what you're sharing with us in the scope of, like, you make statements like, people need to learn, this stuff. And, so I'm going to put a supposition out there. I think we learn in our lives what we need to do to take care of ourselves. I think it's more that we let our lives be consumed with other things that I guess maybe beyond our realization become more the priority, and the day flies by without taking care of ourselves, self-care, fitness goals, stuff like that. So I feel there's something to your service that you just, if people are following your program, if people are spending time with you, you are opening up that space for them to commit to unpacking what they know. And I'm sure we all learn stuff from you for sure. But the bottom line of whether we're walking every day or not, whether we're eating healthy, all this stuff, we for sure have heard that before, but it's just, in terms of us owning it and putting it to practice, like you spoke to habits. I think that's really the key of your role. You're really guiding us to really carry it out, to get into habit formation and to just reckon with ourselves because we get in our own way and we let the day take over and we don't take care of ourselves.
You say that because I've said this before. I'll always be a personal trainer, but that's how I started 25 years ago. But I did find a big transformational change in terms of people owning their health when I started looking as coaching. I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for 25 years. However, the way I'm communicating it and the way I'm talking about it, I think I'm giving people access to really take ownership of their health, which really is important because, you know, there's so many things out, no matter what industry we're in, YouTube, etc. You're all watching something and your attention span is short. So we got to figure out how to make it happen for someone and take ownership of it so we can get what we need to get done right away. And that's why I looked at the skills and looking at people do have to create the discipline, and that filters out to other parts of their lives. And what I said earlier in regards to, it isn't about any one workout. It isn't about any meal. It's about those people that you care about that are counting on you. And you have to look at that as why you need to look at how you can take on your health.
Exactly. Yeah, because the way I look at it is I talk with the stuff that I do. I talk about the six things that tend to pull on us all day long, every day. All good things that help us be who we are. One is, what do we do in our faith community? There's all that
Mhm.
stuff that we do. And then we may take on volunteering, or we may have our own way of being of service to others. So there too, we're putting our attention to another person and other people and
Mhm.
not ourselves during those activities necessarily. And then there's education, like you mentioned, YouTube or whatever. People might feel they're educating themselves through a YouTube video, so forth. They may amp up the theory behind how they can take ownership to their own health. But again, while they're sitting there watching YouTube, unless they're walking, watching YouTube, but then hopefully they don't twist their ankle or something because they're watching a screen,
Sure.
while they're trying to walk, and then you have being a citizen, like doing the stuff you need to do to go pay your taxes or to maybe go to a city parade or, different activities that way. We're all choosing, like we talk about alignable in our business activities, when we're sitting here online doing Zooms and alignable events online, and we're sitting at a computer or device, we could be taking our cell phone to do some of this maybe. But then there is this realm of what do we choose to do for fun? We could choose to watch a movie, sit on the couch and watch a movie, or maybe we go and we play a sport or something that's a little bit more active, a sport or rec thing, or go take a hike. So it just seems like, especially in the USA, we benefit from health because I think our culture and our customs and our genetic memory maybe has us where we may be a little inclined to a little sedentary activity, like even in business activities. We maybe serve some hors d'oeuvres or something, which may or may not be, you know, conducive
Yeah.
to our fitness goals and stuff like that. So it may be something we're not thinking to take a pass on what we're given in the workplace, right?
But this is also too what I've tried to focus on the last couple of years is performance. In regards to that being said, it doesn't matter about your fitness or I, I know I've said this before, people don't really care about their health. They do care what's most important. And they make choices to do certain things, but that being healthy, what's most important is the outcome. Doesn't matter how much I can lift, it doesn't matter what I weigh, it's how I can perform at my top level and be present with what's most important to me. So there's a sense of in what you're just saying too, people are looking for accountability and to be acknowledged for what they're doing right. And I think that's also what makes me different too, is getting people present to really being available right now and really giving them the acknowledgement they need to find this. Because the roadmap is here. We take a step-by-step process to support that. And everybody's a different path. But also too is they want to be acknowledged for the little things that are most important. And execution. It doesn't matter about the exercise. I mean, it's what can you do with the exercise? And being pain-free and confident that you can walk down the stairs without falling and hurting yourself as you get older. And it's all these little things that we don't really talk about that really is most important.
And so, what do you see happening between the space of vanity versus these fitness and health benefits, your well-being? Because, like you mentioned, weight loss. The weight loss goal could be to look better, to like what you're seeing in the mirror, and to just know, like, hey, I like what other people are going to see because I'm slimmer, versus, oh, I'm going to have better heart health. I'm going to have better, blood test results and all that from this. So
Everyone has
there's two
that.
sides to these goals, like the healthy muscle and all the stuff. Well, that healthy muscle might be, I'm kind of liking it because of the way it looks versus the metabolic
You're
function.
wrong. I realize everybody is going to be, a lot of people are focused on how they look,
Yeah,
but at the same time, you're going to feel much better and perform better in life. And that is, you're present for, that's it. I can sit and look in the mirror all day long and look fantastic, but that's not helping anybody else. And I may be controversial saying that, but the thing is, being present to do the things that you really enjoy doing, being around the people you really care about, and really focusing on those outcomes and focusing on how we can get people to do those things. That's kind of where I like to focus on. And I agree the industries are saying like weight loss, but all weight loss industries, they're not trying to help anybody. They're trying to get you to lose weight and fast as possible. And then we know that if you gain it too fast, you're going to gain probably 10% more next time you gain the weight back. So learning how to do it the right way for the lifetime. And then again, you go back to filming and also performance, getting out pain free, getting to do things and not hesitating. As you get older, people even younger, I know younger, they're not going to go on a physical vacation because they can't walk that far. Like that's terrible. You're only hurting yourself and the people that you want to go with.
right.
So I can go on forever on that. So, but it's just it's the way I'm looking at it now. It's a lot different than I was younger. But at the same time, I think that's what people need to hear.
So how do you find that you're connecting to people, giving people an aha in terms of what we can learn from you about things that are inside of us? Like they say, gut health is brain health, or brain,
Yeah.
all that stuff that's inside that until you think it through, until you really, put yourself in that place to evaluate that for yourself, you may not value it. It may not be part of how you're taking ownership to your own health because it's inside of us. Like our doctor worries about that. Like when I go get a physical versus we can kind of do some things every day to kind of know like we're not doing any good, for our gut health with what we're doing. How do you navigate that kind of stuff?
Again, going back to the skills, I mean, like there's certain things like focusing on how you feel because if we improve the gut health in the beginning and train our body to nourish itself, it is going to impact our brain. And that's also the subtle confidence someone gets because they're feeling better. They're able to do more without thinking about it. An example I have is like a client I had a few years ago. Um, she was walking upstairs. She said, "Every time I walk upstairs, I got to go 3 or 4 times. I have to stop 3 or 4 times to go up the stairs because I have all these groceries to take upstairs. And then after a few weeks or even a month or so, she said, I can't believe it. I took the same groceries in one hand, in two hands, walked upstairs once, and didn't realize I did that until I sat down in a chair and turned the TV on. I mean, like it was one of those things where before she had to hesitate, now she just did it. And like her life, it's like these little activities that really people don't think about or hesitate to do because they know, oh, I can't do this. And then also too is independence, creating more independent. Why should I have to ask someone else to do something for me if I can do it myself? That
So
develops more confidence and more vitality and more, opportunities for yourself.
absolutely. So this is Revolutionize Your Marketing, and John is here with, Mill City Marketing MA. So Evan, what are your marketing considerations for, you know, having that interaction that we're describing here with those you serve? Kind of what do you try to put into your marketing in terms of like you're unalignable and in your profiles and stuff like that? What have you done with wording or the ideas you bring forth as you type it out, as people read what you do? What considerations do you put out there to say what you found in terms of, what people are more looking for and what they're responding to? What are your messaging considerations in all this?
It is again, like I think I looked at how I my messaging is in terms of talking about the outcome of the health and fitness in terms of performance and looking at looking at being a leader and looking at business. My target is more business professionals and leaders and the business community executives. And then with the health practitioners, they're leaders and they're business owners as well. But at the same time, focusing on the performance. And that's how my posts are. And when I do videos, I kind of been focusing on this lately in regards to like the outcome of the things and getting people to engage with that. And then look at the programs that we have and see if it's something they'd be interested in talking about, which has been very successful lately. So, I mean, it's a process. And, the big word of the decade now is longevity. And so we need to focus on those things. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm focusing on it as well.
Okay, so one of the things you and John were talking about, John was admitting to, that maybe he could be getting more sleep, but there's something to whatever time you sleep, the quality of that sleep. So, do you have any tips, tricks, techniques, or things you have people factor in that you end up saying this will give you some better chance of having a
Well,
deeper
there are certain like melatonin can help you, but at the same time, as all of it is important. Like exercising regularly in the proper intensity for yourself, nourishing your body and the gut health will give you access to really sleep because you can have the best intention to sleep 7 hours, but your body will not permit you. So that's the one reason why. Don't get me wrong when I say this, but like the wellness wheel, it's like those are you can't. I guess you can actively take on your exercise, actively take on your nutrition, and you can actively try to sleep. But it's to me, you sleep better on the outcome of improving your gut health. You know, emotional fitness, like meditating in the morning or praying in the morning to really get your body set up for the day and saying positive things for yourself. All those things and nourishing your body with the right types of supplements to support that give you access to sleeping better. But we have to be intentional. Go to bed at the same time every night. Get up, stay show, going to bed at the same time every night, getting up at the same time every morning is a habit that can benefit you greatly than being haphazard. That is also being in control and being in discipline. I'm going to do this at this time. And I've learned this, the opportunity is discipline does gives us choices. If we're not disciplined, we fall in regret. So that's just learning to be better for yourself.
All
Yeah.
right, John, I've got something for you. I think what we're going to enact, John, and inspired, I'm not going to say inspired by Evan because I don't know, Evan, that you intended this. Just the way I take things and I kind of, I expound upon it. John, I think you and I will make a commitment to each other that when we say goodbye to each other on these Zoom sessions, that you and I will get out of our house and we'll walk down to the end of the block and back after every Revolutionize Your Marketing show. What do you think, Jen?
Well, if I do that, I'll probably every time I come back with a coffee. Because right down the corner of the street's a Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, jeepers. I tell you, Evan, it seems like that I always fall into a trap. I don't know what's going
Well, at
on.
least at least you're taking a walk. So that's the first thing. Let's acknowledge that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, we'll give it a try, John, and see if we can build up your willpower to go there and back without that donut. What do you think?
Well, I didn't say donut.
I know, but
I said
you
coffee.
said coffee, but then all of a sudden you threw the donut at us. That was good.
But
So
Kurt, so out of curiosity, Kurt, what do you do for exercise?
Well, every day my wife, as far as the online experiences, at 1 Eastern time every day, my wife is on leading something called the Shakedown. And what it is it's something that was started 5.5 years ago by a gentleman with MS, because with COVID, with the lockdown and everything, he noticed that just in like a month of time, he wasn't liking where that was going because he's used to going out to these drum circles and things that keep him active, which he's doing again now. But at that time, 5 years ago, he had to figure something out. And he told his MS support group, he's like, you know what I'm going to do, folks? I'm going to commit to 15 minutes every day. I'm going to get some music going and I'm going to do a Facebook Live. And then one of the friends said, well, if you want to do it on Zoom and invite others, she said, I would provide you my Zoom session, my Zoom account. So that's what they did together. And we still use her Zoom account today to do the 1 p.m. Eastern shakedown and 15 minutes of music and motion. And then it's got some, after the 15 minutes of that, it's got some fun stuff of like the National Today calendar stuff, like the National Hot Dog Day or, whatever it is on those calendars, or
great.
World Peace Day, whatever it is. So we do all that. And then we have a little social time. But that 15 minutes there, and then we have a dog. So our dog's got to be taken around the neighborhood to give her exercise. That's the old thing they say is if you notice your dog not being healthy, it's going to show on you too because
True,
since
true.
walking your dog, you're not taking that activity. So we got that, and then plus during the summer we're water skiers, so we got the shows we perform and that in the off season we get in the gym, but that doesn't start until February now. So we're in off season and just all different things like this weekend or next weekend, I think it is. And next weekend's going to be a fall hike. So we go hiking. So yeah, I need to keep finding these little additive things to keep me more active because yeah, I spend a lot of time doing this thing and I'm sitting at the computer. So you caught me, John. Good job.
I think the opportunity is like I've said this before. There's a lot of in chaos. There's a lot of um, predictability. So like looking at like scheduling time for the podcast, scheduling time for things, scheduling time like a 1 p.m. Eastern, you got the shakedown. Scheduling time, other things that you can actually do, even if it's on every other day that you're looking at your calendar, every day you're looking whatever's best for you, that you can put it in the calendar to make sure you're doing it. Because I think that's the biggest thing is it's easy. And the opportunity is the integrity of your word to yourself is probably most important, but it's easy to slip. That's why accountability is so important. So if you guys are accountable to each other, so I'm going to walk to Dunkin' Donuts and back, and you do it, that's half the battle. Then the other battle is, okay, do I need that coffee at 1 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever time it's going to be? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fortunate out here. I can walk down the block and back and not cross a Dunkin' Donuts, so I don't have to test my willpower. It's all parks around here. Parks
That's
and
all
houses.
right. That's all right.
So I'm
That's
good
all
to go.
right.
So John, what would you like to do next? We're getting kind of to the tail segment here. How do you want to wrap this thing up?
Well, Evan, why don't you let people know once again how they can get a hold of you?
So my website is myfitlearninglife.com. And if they want to schedule an appointment with me, myfitlearninglife.com/breakthrough. And those are the two ways. And my phone number I can put in the chat. So that's it. And then I'm hosting weekly events that are free to educate people on like a master class. So if you reach out to me, I can actually share the schedule with them as well. So
There you go, folks. Now you got the tips on getting your health back in line.
John and Kurt, I appreciate your time today, and thanks everybody for listening in to us today. I forgot the donuts. Sorry.
Right. Oh man.
Thanks for coming, Evan. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And everybody out there, feel free to go onto YouTube, type in Mill City Marketing MA, view all my other podcasts, and view this one over again if you missed a few things, and like and subscribe to my channel.
Thank you.
Anything you got to add, Kurt?
I'll just add to the idea. This is a great show. Thank you, Evan, for being here, being the guest. Thanks, John, for doing the show. We love our Revolutionize Your Marketing show. And again, I'm with the World Ability Podcast Network. Happy to have all these programs going for you all week long and twice on Sunday. And yeah, go ahead and check out the social media for Mill City Marketing MA. And I guess we'll see you here next week. October 10th, again, live at 5 Eastern every Friday. Mill City Marketing MA with John, our friend John. And thank you, Mill City Marketing MA, for making it possible.